For centuries, the wild Mustangs of the West have symbolized freedom, strength, and survival. These majestic creatures roam vast lands, untamed by man, their spirits unbroken. They are the last remnants of a wild era, where nature ruled and beasts ran free, but nature, as powerful as it is beautiful, can also be cruel. This is the story of a Mustang, a lone stallion caught in nature's fury, fighting for his life against an unstoppable force. A story of survival, resilience, and an unexpected hero who refused to let him perish. It was a morning like any other. The sun rose over the golden plains, warming the earth below. A herd of mustangs grazed lazily, their tails swishing, their ears flicking at the gentle sounds of the wind. Among them was a strong and fearless stallion, a leader of his herd. He had survived many battles, endured harsh winters, and roamed these lands for years, but nothing could prepare him for the storm that was about to change his life forever. Far beyond the horizon, dark clouds gathered. The wind carried an eerie silence, a warning that something terrible was coming. And then, like a beast awakened, the storm struck. The sky turned black. The winds howled. Lightning slashed through the darkness, illuminating the frightened herd. They knew, instinctively, that danger was near. Then came the rain, heavy, relentless, pounding against the earth like war drums. Rivers swelled, and dry land turned into a raging torrent. Water rushed down from the hills, filling valleys and consuming everything in its path. The Mustangs ran, their hooves pounding against the drenched ground. But the flood was faster, and before they could escape, disaster struck. The mighty stallion found himself cut off, surrounded by water on all sides. His herd disappeared into the distance, leaving him alone, trapped. The stallion whinnied, his voice drowned by the roaring flood. He reared up, his powerful muscles straining, but there was nowhere to go. The current was too strong. Debris floated past him, broken tree branches, uprooted plants, shattered remnants of nature's wrath. The water rose higher, covering the land he once called home. For hours he struggled, kicking against the current, searching for solid ground. His energy drained. His wild, untamed spirit began to fade. And for the first time in his life, he felt fear. Miles away as the storm raged on, a rancher stood on his porch, watching the destruction unfold. He had lived through many storms, but this one was different. The flood was merciless, consuming everything in its path. Then through the rain he saw something, a dark figure struggling in the distance. He grabbed his binoculars and gasped. It was a Mustang, a lone horse trapped, fighting against the merciless current. The rancher knew he had a choice: ignore the suffering or risk his own life to save the Mustang. But for him, there was never a choice. He saddled his horse, grabbed his rope, and rode out into the storm. Rain lashed against his face. The wind roared, pushing against him with every step. But the rancher pressed on. His horse, trained for endurance, pushed through the muddy terrain. As he neared the river, the sight before him sent chills down his spine. The Mustang was barely above water now, clinging to a fallen tree. His head bobbed, his strength fading. Time was running out. If the rancher didn't act fast, the river would claim another victim. The rancher pulled. The Mustang moved, slowly, painfully, against the current. The river fought back, refusing to let go. The rancher's arms burned, his muscles screamed, but he didn't stop. Inch by inch, the Mustang was dragged toward land. And then, with one final desperate pull, he was free. For a moment, everything was still. The rain softened. The wind quieted. The Mustang lay on the ground, chest rising and falling, his body trembling. The rancher knelt beside him, watching, waiting. Had he survived? Had the river taken too much from him? Then slowly the Mustang lifted his head. His eyes met the rancher's. There was no fear, no anger, only understanding. And then, with a mighty breath, he stood. The Mustang shook himself, droplets flying from his coat. He turned to the rancher one last time, as if to say, "Thank you." Then, without hesitation, he galloped away, back to the wild, back to where he belonged. The rancher watched, a small smile on his face. He knew he had witnessed something rare, something extraordinary. A battle had been fought, a life had been saved, and freedom had prevailed.